So, yeah, we're gonna be looking specifically at the rapid games that we played earlier. So let's see here. Live games, rapid. I did do some grinding back to 2200. So for some context, my highest rating was 2223. And we're just gonna look over some, let's just look over all the games we played today. And we'll do it in order. And some of these games are going to be embarrassing for me, I'm sure, but it is what it is. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. How long have you been streaming for? Today we have been streaming for a little over an hour. It is just a casual hobby thing. I mean, I stream every now and then, you know, just for fun. So, it's not a big deal or anything. Okay, so the first person that we played today, I think this might have been a loss. Oh, no, that was yesterday. Yeah, we only played a couple games today. My bad. Oh, did I not lose any rapid games today? I played some bullet earlier. Okay. Well, we'll just... 4 games is probably more reasonable to look at anyway. And we will look at it in order. What's your favorite game? My favorite game probably is Hollow Knight. In terms of recent games that I've played. I also really love chess, though I think we're probably talking about video games. I really love the indie scene. Undertale is definitely a favorite of mine. I think I have like 200 hours in it. We might do a Delta Range stream sometime soon if there's any interest. Your favorite is Red Dead Redemption 2. Actually, speaking of that, I know, so my cousin, he also has a YouTube channel. And if you look it up, The Logical Fallacy. He recently was trying out the Resident Evil Requiem game, and I sometimes join his streams. I didn't join that one. Where are you from? I am from the United States. I'm from Kentucky. Don't dox me, though. Okay. I do love the engagement, Kaylee. Alright, so D4 was my first choice for the day, and we played the Queen's Gambit, and the Queen's Gambit is a very solid opening. I really fell in love with chess with it. And they played a Semislav. Here I'm gonna be honest, I offered a draw because even though I'm playing with the white pieces, the Semislav is boring. Now, not to sound entitled or anything, actually I'm gonna turn engine lines off. So, knight e5 would have actually been good here because bishop c8 is the best move, and then you're just up a tempo. I mean, there's queen b3 ideas, so you can just slowly apply more pressure. And they wasted time moving their bishop in the opening for no reason. But I didn't see that, so I played bishop f4, very traditional. e3 takes, they took here. My pawn structure is pretty good. I ruined their pawn structure. And then they ruined mine, but this is actually not that bad because my rook gets an easy access to an open line pretty quickly. Which is lovely for me. Also, my thing's frozen here. I don't know why that is. Let's see here. What do you do for a living? We're from Oregon, US. We're going... You know, I was worried that we might be one of these people. And Kaylee Hutchinson. Okay, if you are a real person, I do not mean to be rude at all. But this behavior is very bottish, okay? I don't want to be rude. I think there's definitely a place for artist hustling, and if you're a freelance artist that primarily makes your money from that, I think that's wonderful. This is something I purely do for fun, and it does not profit me, okay? So thank you for the offer. But if that's the only reason we're here, we're more than welcome to leave. Uh, okay. Anyway, we play rook to b1, and now the rook is just completely cut off. And if I were them, I probably... It's hard to say what I would do. Like, I'd want to play king d7, but then we're allowing rook b7 check. But it's just like a very hard spot to be in. They play h6, and then they overextend. I think this whole plan here, like, they had problems, probably just... Well, bishop e7, you can't really... It's hard to know what they should have done instead. But here I play rook b7, they go here, and now we win a pawn through a tactic, which is nice. My opponent was a little bit strange here. I do end up getting my pawn through, more or less. Consolidate into an in-game up 2 pawns, but you really just need one. And my opponent didn't resign here, even though I had 4 minutes left, which was a little bit strange. Definitely a little bit strange. I didn't really understand it. I think Kaylee is just a bot. Yeah, they left, it looks like. I need to figure out how to do the settings on YouTube. On Twitch it was super simple. Let me go to a different... Let me see here. I'm gonna do a new window. Hopefully you guys can't see this. I need to... Okay, let's see here. Okay. Yeah, I'm logged into the correct account. Okay. So we're gonna remove their message about their Discord. I don't think it's really appropriate to be putting their Discord out there. And can we block this person? Yeah. Kaylee, I am sorry, but you, all the solicitation, yeah, we're not gonna allow that in the chat. I want real viewers, not bots. Sorry. Okay, anyway, moving on. The next game that we played today was against the 2200, 2237, so higher than my rating's ever been. They play knight f3, I play knight f6, and they play, I think this is called the Nimzo Larson defense. Could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And I sort of just copy. We get into a situation where all the bishops on the board are being kettled along the long diagonals. And here my opponent played c4 in the opening. I castled before them. But now we go into symmetry. And here I make my first real mistake of the game. They played d3, but since they played the game a little bit passively, d4 probably would have been a better move, striking at the center and trying to claim more space than them. But d3, it's fine, it's symmetrical. I also offered this opponent a draw because I kind of wanted to play with the white pieces. It was like +1 if I won, and then like winning is better, don't get me wrong, but these positions are often pretty dry. So knight bd7 was played, queen c7. I moved my rook along the same line as their queen long term. I know it's blocked right now, but it's just conceptually a good idea. They play this move knight to e4, and then it's kind of funny here. I play queen to c7, and even though they play knight to e4, they get my knight off the board, and I take, and then we're back into pretty much perfect symmetry, if not everything being completely symmetrical. They play e4, which I didn't want to play e5, because e5, long term, makes this pawn a backwards pawn. It can no longer ever be defended by another pawn. But on the other hand, I didn't really want to move this knight, because then he'd be able to trade off my bishop for his bishop, and this bishop is protecting my king, so it's a little bit more important than usual. So I wasn't really wanting that, not in this position at least. Which, yeah. Since I didn't want that, I didn't want to allow e5, so I ended up mirroring. And here, they play this move h4. h4 is an interesting move. They want to play h5. I know that there was this idea in a lot of openings, like the King's Indian defense, of playing knight e8, and then you want to push f5. So that's what I did. But after this move h5, the computer actually recommends, since there's not really a good way to defend this pawn, say, hey, opponent, you overcommitted, put the knight back on f6. And then if they take, I don't know if you take with this pawn or this pawn, but either way, we're forcing a trade. But I played f5 instead, which was maybe overextending my hand a little bit. They play this move knight to h4, trying to attack this weak pawn. I move my queen over to defend. They take like this. They calculated something and clearly missed something, because after takes, they played knight takes f5. Now, whenever you push a pawn like this, you create two holes. These squares are no longer going to be defended by your pawns. And if your light square bishop leaves the board, then that's going to spell a lot of trouble for you. So if I took here, they just take my bishop and attack my rook and be very happy. But I took their bishop, and they took my bishop. But here's the thing. They took my bishop, but they let this bishop survive, which was a mistake. So I just scooted the bishop back, and my idea is I want to checkmate them. They attack the bishop like this. I play king takes, and my idea is that if he takes here, queen f3 is unstoppable checkmate. There's absolutely nothing you could do. If you do one spite check, that's it, and then you resign. And in case you guys don't see the mate, yes, you could go here to last one more move, but after this, rook or queen h5 is mate. So, yeah, that was a lucky game. And then the next game that we played against somebody with a funny username, Patzer 2.0, 2175. So a bit lower rated than us. We also play d4 here, but they respond with c5. And actually, I've been playing somebody from work by the name of Evan. Shout out to you, Evan, if you're watching this. Who plays the London system. And I know that I've thrown him off with this move, c5. So a couple moves that you can do if you're faced c5 is the most traditional against the Benoni is just pushing forward and playing into the mainline Benoni. Another fun option if you like gambits is e4. And you transpose into a Smith-Morra gambit. And this is not a pawn sacrifice because they could go like this and win the pawn back immediately. But oftentimes they won't even do that, because if you take the pawn, they'll play e6, and just trying to save this pawn is a losing battle in a lot of cases. But I play knight f3, inviting a Sicilian, potentially. Which kind of happened, but it didn't happen because I never ended up playing e4. And this knight b3 move, I should have played something that I knew a little bit more, because I ended up making a mistake earlier on. So after this move, I played rook to g1 after they castled, because I wanted to be a madman. I wanted to play g4, g5, but I actually really liked the move, g5 here for black, punishing me for prematurely playing rook g1, and then I just have to go back, blocking this pawn's access to ever going back. And, okay, maybe I move my rook back and I try to attack the chain this way. However, if I do that, I sabotage my ability to castle on the king's side long term. So I thought this was an interesting approach. Not what they opted for, though. They played d4. I took here. And I was expecting them to capture like this, to not lose defense of this pawn. Of course, if I take, spaghetti-o, I would lose my queen. For those who don't see it. But they decide to sacrifice the pawn. I take like this, and they play this move bishop to, no, they play e4 first. So against e4, I just castled. I was okay with the prospect of them going like this, and we trade the b-pawn, and I get the e-pawn in return. And I thought I was slightly better here. I also have the prospect of going bishop g3, and g3 is a little bit of a concession. At the very least, I thought. And there's also no checks with the queen, because this knight nicely covers everything. So I didn't have to worry about that. But that didn't happen. They played bishop e6, and here I made a dumb mistake. I took here. Which taking here is fine, but I should have taken with the queen, and just let the other line transpose. But I got too fancy for my own good. I was like, oh, okay, they don't want to do that. I'll just take like this. I'm attacking their queen. The problem is, this queen is the only thing protecting this knight. And whenever they attack it with queen g6, there's not a lot I can do. Because if I play bishop d3, after either rook here, this knight is going to lose its defender. There's nowhere I can go that sufficiently defends the knight. I guess looking at this now, actually, I don't know if that's true. I mean, there is this move. Yeah, knight d4. I missed knight d4 during the game. I was just so convinced I messed something up that my mind did not let me see knight d4. But queen g6 didn't happen. They played this move. And I played this move, which was a mistake, because this line also there's knight d4, and I could have been okay. I played this. I was fully anticipating just being down a piece here, but I was like, at least I'll open up the line for it. But this is not what happened during the game. Here they just take the pawn. And here I play this nasty move, rook h1. Now, rook h1 doesn't work because there's still bishop takes d5 and we're up a piece at the end of the line. But the idea is that if they take here, spaghetti-o, knight f6, and you lose your woman. That did not happen in the game, though. What they did instead was just take here. Now, I'm going to lose my knight anyway, so there's nothing I can do about that. So I play knight f6 first, so that I'd at least damage their pawn structure if I was going to be down a piece before taking the queen. And here I play this move. I take the pawn. And the reason I do this is there's not really a good move that I could play. You might at first think that you could play this move, but after this, you get bullied into a rook trade, and if you do not do it, mate in one. So, I didn't do that. Instead, I decided it was better to just give up the rook for the bishop. And here I play bishop d3. If you get tunnel visioned on the bishop, you could accidentally blunder this. And my opponent does blunder something, but I did miss it. So in this position, there is miraculously a draw here, even though we're down a piece, with the move rook to g4. Now the reason that I missed rook to g4 was I assumed that he could just go and eventually attack the rook. But what I missed is that if he goes for this, f4 is checkmate. So I had an easy draw there. But instead I play rook h7. I'm already not confident in how I've played this game, and now I'm just freaking out. And here, I, like a dummy, play the move king to e2. Now, of course, I should just move my rook back, hope that he does not play f5, or anything that blocks rook to g4 check, but instead I played this move. Now, if my opponent was feeling more sharp, he would have, of course, played the move rook takes d3 here, and the idea is after I take back, he can take my rook. And after this, almost certainly I have to resign. But he misses that. Instead, he attacks the bishop. I move my rook back, just sort of instinctively. I'm freaking out. Bishop f5 probably would have been a better move, but I was freaking out because I noticed that I hung my rook on the prior move. So this is what I end up opting for. Move my rook back. And this is a 10-minute game, but my opponent is taking a long time. Whenever he played f5, he attacked my rook, for those who didn't see it. That's why we moved it. And I'm just shuffling. Here, there is a trick. If they go here, spaghetti-o, we're back in the game. That did not happen, of course. I take a pawn here. Here they sacrifice to get a winning endgame, but we're both low on time at this point. Here it is worth noting that you should not go here, because then there's bishop c5, and we're in even more trouble. And here I made a crucial mistake. I tried to defend the pawn, which my opponent had so little time, I probably would have won the game had, instead of rook there, I just played a random move like rook here, and then after takes, just run and tried to beat them on time. But I was also low on time. The presence of mind that wasn't there for that. So that's not what ended up happening, unfortunately. Okay. But anyway, what ended up happening was we traded all the pieces off. He got my last pawn. And by the grace of something in the stars, we escaped this game with a draw. And I mean, clearly I was outplaying my opponent the whole time, you know? Just completely outplaying them. But at the end of the day, chess played perfect as a draw. So I guess I played this game perfectly. Or something along those lines. And then lastly, for our game to get back to 2200, as it has been a little while since I got there, I've used one of my favorite weapons against against e5, against 1e4. I am a very versatile player, so in the 2 prior games, you saw me play d4. And I love d4, but e4 is what Bobby Fischer once said was best by test. And I do think that there is a certain level of truth to that. So, in honor of the late, great Bobby Fischer, who was only a little bit crazy, we played e4. They played e5, and I played bishop c4. The bishop's opening. Now, most people who do this, they're trying to play a Vienna. Not me. I'm a wayward queen attack enjoyer. Now, there is this person on YouTube by the name of, I think their name is Robert Plunkett. Wayward, let me see if I can find it. Wayward queen attack. He's not... He does have a video on it. He's just not, like, very high up in the algorithm. You can search his channel. And in the stream, I probably won't put it since the stream is set on a Silksong stream, and that's what we were doing for the first hour. But in the video, I'll probably link his channel. So, he had a video about the Wayward Queen attack and playing it at a high level. And I very much believe that the Wayward Queen attack is not trolling at a high level. It is not the most effective weapon, but it is good. Now, for the new people in the audience, we're threatening checkmate. Of course, people at this level, especially in longer games, generally aren't hanging that. So they play g6, and then you move the queen back, attacking this again. So sort of the idea of this opening, and I guess for some context, how I came across Robert Plunkett's YouTube channel was I used to go to a chess club a lot in, not my home state, but where the state I currently reside in. And he came from Maryland, and he played me an HS game where we were talking about the Dragon Sicilian. And I nearly beat him down a queen, but I did not, and he's a national master. So that's how I came across his material, I studied it, and this is one of my favorite weapons. So one of the big things here is a lot of players underestimate how strong this pin is if you don't deal with it immediately. H6 is basically is probably necessary here. Yeah, H6 or I guess knight b4. Knight b4 also, you know, you gotta castle first, but then you have to play h6. But our opponent underestimates this, and they play knight d4, which has the same idea of going after the square. But unfortunately, after we take, we go here with tempo, and this is pinned. And bishop g4 is not effective at all, as we have knight takes f6. If queen takes, we can just take, and at the end of the day, we're up a piece. So that does not do anything, unfortunately, for them. Here we take. Knight takes h7 is a discovery against the queen. It is also a fork, because it also attacks the rook. We end up taking the rook. They take here. I play knight takes g6. I attack with the queen. And here you have two options. You could either move your bishop back and try to preserve it, or you could take this bishop. Since we're up so much material, simplification seems very natural to me, so that's what we opt for. I play this move h4, trying to open up my rook. I castle. I do spend quite a bit of time here before castling, because 2200 is not a rating that I can just comfortably achieve at this point. It is something that I have to work towards. Part of that is I'm just not playing as much chess as I've used to. But it does have me nervous, especially in a winning position like this, where if I win this game, I'm back to 2200. So that is partially why I acted a little bit nervous. So I castle, they take on e4, I take their pawn, and unfortunately here, they play this move, d3, and after check, there is this move, knight to h8, knight on the rims are goaded, and we win the queen through discovery, because as the late, great, and unfortunately no longer here, Daniel Naroditsky once said, LPDO, which simply stands for loose pieces drop off. So since this piece is loose, always look for checks, and this discovery against the queen, we win the game in style. Getting back to 2200 with an opening that's supposed to just be for beginners. Well, let me see here. At least for the chess portion, this concludes the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, farewell. Peace.